What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com, and welcome back to another one of our Kentucky Derby updates. Well, here we go. Kentucky Derby update after all the 100-point prep races are over. Kind of told you last week this would be the major kind of show to kind of set you up for, basically the run up to the Derby now, and just seeing who's going to be in and out, who's going to defect, who's not. Let's go over the three races that happened, the three 100-point races, and we'll start at Kentucky at Lexington with the Bluegrass. I thought it was the most impressive of the three efforts. Sierra Leone, he did what Chad Brown horses usually do in the Bluegrass, better and better. Boom, fire a big race on the big day. It was really impressive. Look, he was last or second to last for most of the race. Was pretty worried for most of the race just because, it had been favoring speed at Keeneland, and you just get a little more nervous when they're that far back. You could tell, though, on the turn, he started to make up ground, and then I'd say about, an eighth of the way down the stretch, you thought, yeah, he's going to get up there and beat those horses. So the pace was honest enough to help him. There's no doubt about it. But I do think, just a touch, who ran second in that race, I'd look for him back. I think he ran pretty well. That was first time around two turns. I thought he ran pretty well. I just think, Sierra Leone just a little bit better at this stage in his career, but I think those two can move forward. So had to be impressed. Sierra Leone, very nice job winning there in the Bluegrass. And look, he earned a 98, got assigned, a 98 Beyer speed figure. That was the best by far of these other two races. Now, on to the other two races. We'll go to the Wood Memorial first, where Resilience pulled off an upset at 5-1. The big story here, though, I think, there's two big stories. Tuscan Sky and Deterministic being story number one. They just didn't run at all. Tuscan Sky was never in the race. Deterministic, I thought, was getting an okay trip. Not maybe great, but I thought he was in a decent spot. He went backwards. Those two, Tuscan Sky has no points, so he's obviously out. But Deterministic, I don't know what you do with him. He has enough points to get in. I guess we'll see what happens with him. I don't know. That was just a poor effort. My thing and my speculation why I went against him on the win-in yet last weekend, did not hit the race, but was against Deterministic, is I didn't think two turns would be quite as good for him as one. But still, even if that was the case, I still think he would have ran up, maybe got third. Usually what happens is you kind of spin your wheels if you can't really get the distance, but you don't just drop anchor, and he kind of just dropped anchor. So I don't know. I'm kind of off of him for sure. Real Resilience. He's getting better. He's getting better. He might just continue to get better for a really, really solid trainer in Bill Mott. I liked it. You go back and watch his Risen Star. He ran pretty well. He came up here, and it was really a never in doubt win for Resilience. So I think he's got to be at least in your top 10 now. I think he is a horse to kind of, you got to have to keep an eye on him. I think getting better for the right trainer, he may pop a big one on Derby Day. Finally, the Santa Anita Derby. This was the one I was the least impressed with. Nice win from Stronghold. It's nice that the Santa Anita Derby winner is going to the Kentucky Derby. Let me say that, because that out at Santa Anita has been rough, to say the least. Not that there hasn't been good horses, but they've all been Bob Baffert. So it was nice to see Stronghold beat, Bob Baffert. And that's not a hate message for Bob Baffert. That's just more of a look. It's a Kentucky Derby prep race. You want the winner to run in the Kentucky Derby. At least Stronghold will be able to do that. I really wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest, though. Both horses, we've kind of seen it. Imagination just kind of runs with the competition, kind of hangs right there with whoever, and he did the same here. I thought Stronghold did it in a nice way. I thought his running style was pretty nice. But look, he got an 89 Beyer. I don't know. I still think he needs to improve a little bit to have a chance. But again, I am very glad that the Santa Anita Derby winner can run in the Kentucky Derby. All right, with that, let's go to the top 5 for me this week. Who knows how much this will change? Number 5, Honor Marie for me. I think Honor Marie, the more I watched that race, I thought he was very good in the Louisiana Derby to get second. He definitely moved forward off of his 2024 debut. So Honor Marie in 5th for me. I think he's going to be flying under the radar a little bit for this Kentucky Derby. We might be able to get a decent price on him. Number 4 is Forever Young. I probably have him a little too high, but a lot of it is I just don't really know who to rank ahead of him. He hasn't lost. He has 2 wins overseas. The UAE Derby was better than the Saudi Derby, but its UAE Derby still wasn't amazing. I do think this horse is going to love the added distance. I think he's one of the few that you could be very confident he's going to like that. So, look, I have him at number 4. I know he's going to come over here and try to do something that really just nobody has ever done. That those UAE Derby horses just have not done well over here. Maybe he can break that trend. I've got him at number 4. Number 3 is Catching Freedom. The Brad Cox trainee won the Louisiana Derby in a similar fashion as Sierra Leone, coming from last and getting up there and getting the job done. Yeah, look, I think number 3 is kind of where he belongs. He faced Sierra Leone and he got beat by him. So I don't think I can put Catching Freedom ahead of Sierra Leone, especially after the step up, but he's in a good spot. I think he's a really nice horse. So Catching Freedom, number 3 for me. Number 2, Sierra Leone. We talked about it, or at least I talked about it earlier. Look, I think he's doing what Chad Brown horses do, the good ones, is 3-year-olds. I think this is Chad Brown's best chance to win the Derby. You look back, and I think Good Magic may have been a little bit better horse than Sierra Leone, but Good Magic had to face Justify. So I couldn't really sit there and say I think Chad Brown can win this Derby when he was in there with Justify. I think Sierra Leone's better than Zandon, even though they kind of have the same running style. They kind of look similar. I think Sierra Leone's a little bit better. I don't know if he can do it, but I think it's Chad Brown's best chance with a horse that is one of his best he's ever had as a 3-year-old on the dirt. Let me clarify. And, this field, I don't know, especially if my number 1 horse doesn't show up. And with that, my number 1 horse is Fierceness. I don't really know how to say it any other way. If he's about 8 lengths better than everybody else, if he fires the race he fired in the Florida Derby. He just is. Whatever number you look at, whatever you're looking at, he's better than the rest of those horses. However, I still don't know if I can pick him to actually win because he's just had 2 races that are just horrific, and he will get beat by all 19 horses he faces if he does not show up with his best effort. I've never seen a horse with an all or nothing since I've been following. I know there have been a few that have been pointed out to me, but since I've been following and I've been, running the website, I can't really think of one quite like this. I think the trick is you got to be a little bit more creative about how you bet them. I know, like with a Nyquist or American Pharoah or a Justify or even a California Chrome, you kind of went in there, at least me personally, I went into those races thinking, look, they're the best horses. I don't care if they're 3-1, 5-2. I'm going to bet them to win. They're consistent. If they show up, they're going to win. With Fierceness, you just can't. At times he's had races that look like what those horses were doing for sure, but at times he has just been beyond bad. So I think you have to be a little bit more creative about how you bet him. Put him on top of or single him in some stuff, and then have some other race, some other horses used as far as just straight wins, something like that. I don't know. I think another problem, he's going to be a pretty short price. People bet buyers more than they do everything else, and they're going to look at this and go, well, he has a buyer. It's roughly 10 to 12 to 15 points, depending on who you're comparing him with, higher than the next best, third best, fourth best horse. So it's kind of a standout situation. So we'll see. But on talent, I think he's definitely the best horse. That doesn't mean I'm going to bet him, though. But number 1 is Fierceness. So to recap, number 5, Anna Marie. Number 4, Forever Young. Number 3, Catching Freedom. Number 2, Sierra Leone. Number 1, Fierceness. All right. This week, we do have one prep left. This is the Lexington Stakes. So the Lexington is out. It'll be Saturday at, of course, Keeneland. It's only a 20-point race, so it's not, a quote-unquote major prep. We've got number 1, Secret Chat. Number 2, The Wine Stewart. Number 3, Dilger. Number 4, Footprint. Number 5, Hades. Number 6, How's Your Attitude? Number 7, Ever Do It. Number 8, Encino. Number 9, Liberal Arts. Number 10, Lucky Jeremy. So the way it looks to me, Hades with a win is going to be in the Kentucky Derby. If Encino wins, if Liberal Arts wins, it's going to get close. I think they'll make it, but they're going to need defections. It's not going to be a total lock. The way I've kind of done the math, if Hades wins, he's going to be in. I don't think he'll need defections. The rest of them, I think, will need some. But still, it's an interesting race. I don't really have a pick just yet. I got to do the preview later. I really got to study this once I get off of this video. But I don't think it's impossible that if the winner kind of blossoms like an Encino, or maybe the Wine Stewart comes back strong, or maybe Hades bounces back, I think we've got a contender, if not the Derby, the Preakness maybe. Might be a pretty sharp Preakness prep. So definitely keep an eye on this. We'll have coverage on this. We'll have a betting Bible on not only this race, but the whole card. So I think this is interesting. I'm fascinated to see what happens. I don't think it's the strongest field, but I do think there are a couple of horses that may jump up and surprise us there. So that'll be this week. That will be the Lexington. All right, guys. I'm going to get off here for now. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Hit that like button if you like it. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, come back next week. We'll have a new top 5 and a new Kentucky Derby update.